What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Team Kitchen Fable video. I'm joined by my teammate Steven, and I'm Jacob, and I have a gameplay recording from week 5 of the Flesh and Blood Team League. And this was the final week before the bans were enacted for us in the league. During the actual finals, we played without bans. But in this week, we were playing against the Fab Foundry team, and we have our teammate Chad Spencer against Anthony on Fab Foundry. Chad's playing Viserai, and Anthony is playing Oldhim. So, of course, if the bans were enacted, I think this is a wash. I think Oldhim can just
Yeah.
destroy Viserai with Crown of Seeds, or reverse destroy, aka defend everything. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think Steven, you got to watch this one live, and this will be my
Yep.
first time seeing it.
Yep. It's gonna be really interesting. I think you already know the result, but the way it gets there is definitely an interesting one, and I think you'll be very pleased to see like how it turns out. It's really
Awesome.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we'll just hop into the recording.
hmm A lot of plays where I was like, "Oh my God, why did they do this?" I think it's easy when you watch things live where you're like, "Oh my God, why did they make this play?" And then a few moments later, you get proven wrong. Like, "Oh yeah, that was probably the right play, huh?"
Nice.
It sometimes happens that way. Um,
So looks like Oldhim wins the dice roll.
mhm,
Definitely an advantage to going first.
mhm.
And
Viserai starting with 29 rune chance. That's
yeah,
smart too.
sometimes
Uh,
Viserai wants to be sneaky and start with the dice instead of the counter to hide the
yeah.
fact that they're going OTK. But I think this pretty obvious that that's what the plan's going to be here.
Mhm. Especially pre-bans. Definitely only want to be OTK.
Yeah,
See, just a normal hammer swing, letting the Viserai filter.
yeah, that's good for Chad getting to filter.
hmm
Uh, both of those reds would have been useless for building up rune chance. So
I agree.
definitely nice.
All right. I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think Chad goes up to an insane start. Oh, the tunic, an insane start. But yeah, something. There will be rune chance made for sure.
So we got the Gorg Tome coming out, drawing a card, turns on Viserai's ability into a Mordred, which is pretty
hmm
nice.
It is nice. It's nice. It's a good start.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know what the OTK game plan is, you basically just build as many rune chants as possible, and then once you get to like the 20s, you're going to activate Mordred, activate Bloodsheath Skeleta, and cast Sonata for a bunch.
hmm
Um, so of any
Yes, I
attack you
remember
could
the
have
beginning.
here, Spellblade Strike is pretty great. He gets
Yep.
2 rune chants built in, and so that goes to 3 from Mordred, and then 2 from Viserai. So he ends his turn
Mhm.
on 5 and actually got some damage through.
Yep.
Um,
And any damage through in the OTK plan just makes it easier for the OTK to go through. And I
yeah.
think that taking that damage and Oldhim keeping so much of the hand, maybe just an idea that Oldhim wants to put the gas to make sure that they finish the game before Viserai can OTK them. And also, double fuse or a fused Oaken Old is also pretty good.
Yeah, especially with a Winter's Bite leading out, so you know you're getting a ton of cards out of the Viserai's hand here.
Yep. Looks like he took all the cards. But maybe Chad wasn't that upset about it. Maybe that hand was a dud anyway. Also good that the Okono came when there was no arsenal, so there was really no threat of any defense reaction to stop that.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good for the pretty good start for the Oldhim there.
Oh yes, and I do
Chad.
want to mention that a little bit here, the suede hides.
Hmm.
I think in our inner circles or in testing, I think suede hides was a really late addition to the LTK game plan, and it is really sweet when you get to use it to um, instead of the creepers, because like the creepers don't do anything when you're OTK. Suede hide was actually really the correct choice, and I kind of held back on telling a lot of people. I know in my local area, a lot of people like figured it out. Actually, I kind of got it from them a little bit. Shout out to Seattle Fab. Um, yeah, Suede Hide's really good.
Yeah, if you don't have to keep a non-attack back to do after your Sonata in order to try to sneak it in with creepers,
Mhm.
It makes it a lot smoother for your Sonata turn for sure.
Specifically, also very good versus Starvo, where they won't let you keep cards in hand a lot.
Yeah.
Here you
Ooh, a
go.
pummeled
Get
Winter's
pummel.
Whale.
hmm I feel like that might have been a little bit of a waste. Looking at back at it, maybe trying to get an attack into pummel, and getting cards out of hand. I think is always the best thing you want to do with pummel.
Hmm.
But I think again it was just um, Anthony making sure that you are putting down the damage and making sure that you get them low enough where they're gonna have to block instead of letting them keep hands to be able to OTK so
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, the Oldhim definitely needs to push as much damage as possible. I think if Chad's hand was like just a read the runes and a defense reaction, that frostbite actually makes a big difference. He would have to
Mhm,
pitch the defense react to play the read or just
mhm,
arsenal pass. But I
mhm.
do think the pummel is quite nicer on an attack action card to get even an extra card out.
Yep. And here
Um,
is more information that the Oldhim is trying to be very aggressive, playing in nine strike. Five go again, I'm guessing is the thing here. It's easily blocked by reduce and another line strike. Maybe you go again, or maybe seven. Unfortunately, I don't know what the player said most of the time, and I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure this is seven.
yeah, I think it makes
Yeah.
sense at 7 just for the Oldhim to keep a card in arsenal to use for crown purposes and digging for more cards.
Yep.
Um, we get the tick down from the incantation, chance up to 7. And
hmm
then Chad has an arsenal card, which is good. Could be a defense reaction, or maybe saving a Mordred Tide to do some more generation later.
Let's see. And this one's a big cranial crush. Just 8 damage, trying to keep the pressure going so that they have to block with cards in hand, and then they don't have to get easy chances to generate ring chance here. Although
Yeah,
sometimes not the best at applying pressure, but I'm sure you can build it that way.
yeah. I mean, 8 damage is still a lot. It's a
Mhm,
little bit less than a third of Chad's life total. The crush effect is that Chad can't draw cards during his action phase, which
mhm.
isn't super relevant, especially given that the Gorg Tome is gone.
And here's the
But
pummels that I like.
yeah, it
Pummels
makes a
on
lot of
actual
sense
cards.
that he pummeled on the Winter's Whale, given that he's arsenaling a pummel. So
Okay, that's also true.
yeah,
And here is a time where I got really worried. He blocked with a Become the Arc Knight and then discarded another Become the Arc Knight to the pummel and then played another Become the Arc Knight. So that's all Become the Arc Knights
wow.
gone. Um, and this was a very interesting play by him. He picked Sonata, um, which is for me at that point I was like, wow, if you just get CNC pummeled ever, this is terrible. But I guess he was hedging a little bit in that way. I just thought it was really interesting.
Yeah,
That
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
if you're out of Become the Arc Knights to search for sonatas, uh, that's definitely scary.
hmm
Um,
And then Anthony there for a second there tried to play um, Rouse the Ancients, but 8 + 4
yeah,
was not 13. It was
not enough
12.
damage.
Yep. So just playing the Endless Winter here for 8 with a semi-relevant, at least text for blocking. I think you still want to save some cards and some life. Here's another Sonata Arcanic. Yeah, this game gets really, really weird. But there goes an Arcanic. We know that there's one safely tucked in the arsenal to at at least. So
Yeah,
there's that.
so we got to watch out for disables and command and conquers.
hmm
Um, but yeah, the endless winter was pretty good there. I don't know if Chad maybe had to read the runes left in hand that he would have wanted to play. Uh, Frostbite stopping him from doing that. But I think
hmm
the Chad is just I said to the Chad. I think Chad's just
Gotcha.
relying on Oldhim maybe tapering off on the aggression and losing some aggression.
hmm
And then maybe he gets an extra chance to generate and then just go off early. Um, looks like that will not be the case as we have a Rouse the Ancients single reveal with Pulverize for
hmm
7 go again. So the Oldham's really bringing the heat actually in these first
Yep.
couple turns.
Nope, that is pretty good. Just blocking a bit. Want to mitigate the life lost here, and these attacks don't really do anything
Yeah, so
to accelerate the game plan.
as opposed to Starvo, where their attacks always dominated. At least with Oldhim, you can filter extra attacks out and block out damage. But the other hand is that you're losing cards from the deck in general. So if you don't even have enough cards left before you get to the OTK turn, it could be a
Hmm.
little bit worrisome.
Yep.
But he does
So
just
that was
follow it up with a Winter's Wail with ice.
yep, and that's why maybe the having the Sonata ready to go whenever you can was obviously the really good play.
Hmm.
So props to Chad for seeing that, and just now maybe being really wary because now like also very worried about is like that's also guaranteed like not a defense reaction there in Arsenal.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like if Oldham could probably take advantage of that knowledge throughout the game.
Yeah, so Chad just gets some filtering with Whisper of the Oracle to opt 3. I think I saw him put 2 to the bottom and 1 to the top, or something
I
like
think a
that.
blue is opt two, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
just I think they were both, and I think they were both put on top, or it was one bottom, one top. But
Hmm.
making sure that you're trying to see your rune chain generation and putting your, and if possible, if you get the chance, put your good attacks like Swarming Gloomveil and Rune Flash onto the bottom of the deck. So Whisper Oracle is pretty good. I think he
Yeah.
pitched a meet and greet to uh, to play the Whisper, so putting that at the bottom of the deck was also really good.
Yeah. Overall, pretty great turn cycle for Chad.
Hmm.
So it looks like we have a Crown of
Crown.
Seeds on the end of Chad's turn.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
I
possible
w-
that these Crown of Seas could have been done during the active turn and then have
yeah.
to work this way, but yeah,
I
that's
wonder
fine as
if
well.
yeah, that might be some Starvo muscle memory.
It's also true.
Looking for a fuse, but that's okay. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made to do it on his turn. Maybe he could have fused the endless
The
winter with
endless
that
winter.
channel like frigid.
Yeah, yeah. So just a little bit things here and there. Um, but yeah, you're right. The muscle memory from Starville, man. Oof. So just a clean
So
eight still has the hit effect.
yeah, and I think Chad might be okay with just blocking it out again. I mean, 8 damage is gonna put him really low, and I think there's still 2 Oakenolds yet to be seen.
Mhm.
Um, ooh,
Oh, another pummel. Yep,
that's a red one. So we're at
that's
12
the last one.
damage.
Yep, and I believe that's the last pummel as well. So that's at least not going to be seen anymore unless Anthony has more pummels off his sleeve. I believe just needs to pick a card to discard here, but yeah, I was
Swarming.
wonder why block for 5 there. 3, 4, 5. Maybe he had a defense reaction. No, that was just a Mortartide. Hmm.
Yeah, so
Interesting
we're
block for the grass.
it's pretty great that it wasn't fused there. If it was fused, then uh that kind of kills Chad's entire turn because has the
True.
frostbites.
Yep.
But getting the incantation down is pretty great.
Yep. The Thunder Break for 8. So this is a good thing that Guardians have. They have a lot of just like back to back 8 attacks, 8 damage, and you can't just keep taking 8 damage to the face.
Right. Yeah, I mean, having so many 8 power attacks at blue means that you really can consistently put the damage out.
Mhm.
Um, but that's exactly what Chad wants is to block with 3 cards and then play a read the runes. So not bad
Not,
there.
not bad indeed. Right, let's see. Hold, I'm just thinking here, probably to crown at the end of turn, or maybe they've Anthony has figured out to crown on his turn. Well, we'll see. Winter's Bite, also good.
This is
I
a
think if I
red
remember
winter's
correctly,
bite.
yes, there's a red Winter's Bite. I remember that one.
Nice.
And another attack for 8.
Chad's getting pretty low on life at
Mhm.
14, so he's gonna need to really be
Reduce sync. Pretty
nice
good.
double defense reaction. He's gonna need
Yep.
to be very conservative with his life total
Mhm.
because he might need to take a chunk of damage before his go off turn. So it's good that one of those was a reduce, progresses his game plan as well as saves his life total. And
Yep.
16 rune chances, that's really getting there. I think he still has a couple read the runes left in the deck too, to
Mhm.
produce rune chance with.
Yep. We've only seen one, I believe.
Yeah,
Um, Another red Winter's Bite.
Nice.
Yep. So again, just trying to slow them down. Even before the go off turn, the Winter's Bite does at least take a card out of their hand, guaranteed.
Very
And there goes a read
interesting.
the runes choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you see this, and I believe this is correct because I saw it,
Yeah.
but I think generally if you're discarding read the runes, it's probably because your hand is filled with read the runes.
Yeah. No, that's
So
definitely what I would be predicting here. Um, yeah, the thing with Red Winter's Bite is yes, it requires them to have a blue, but also they can just discard a red and be kind of okay with it. It takes the card out of their deck instead of putting it to the bottom. But um,
yes, I believe they use a yellow tunic and a red to hit
oh,
with this
okay.
Winter's Bite. Or
Two
or
reds and tunic looks like
two reds and oh yeah,
two
two reds and
spinal
tunic. Yeah.
crushes.
Yeah, and I think there was a third Spinal Crush fish to put it at the bottom to draw. So I think there was like all Spinal Crushes were together there.
We see
Yeah,
another.
another.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, that's a yellow one. So I'm guessing another Read the Runes coming out here. Yeah,
Nice.
and we're at the magical
So
20.
what are the
We made it.
chances that that fourth card is also a Read the Runes?
They are playing yellows too, right? So yellow
Yeah.
and red Read the Runes. All right,
20
let's
is a
see.
good number, but I think he might have the luxury to get a little bit higher, especially because
Wow.
of Oldhim running Stalagmite. He might need to go higher for the OTK turn.
Hmm.
Oldhim doesn't produce nearly as much pressure as Starvo does, but back to back Winter's Bites. Chad has the blue to pitch this time. That's good. And then I assume
Yep.
this is 5 go again on the E strike.
Yep, I would assume so as well. Let's see, 5 go again. Maybe Chad's thinking about going off here. Um, so they're thinking maybe to keep some cards. It's gonna be well, took all the
Mm,
5. So, ooh,
this
that's what I
Command
was
and
talking
Conquer
about,
is
the
huge.
CNC. Yep. Okay, because if they wanted to go off, then yeah, wow. Also,
So
heads up, not blocking that.
yeah, definitely heads up. I wonder, and I haven't played Oldhim in a very long time, but I wonder if there's any chance we just hammer here and Arsenal the Command and Conquer and just say you're only on 20. I'm Oldhim. I'm pretty sure I can block you out. Having a card in Arsenal, and then next turn I might draw a pummel, and Command and Conquer goes even crazier if you choose not to
Yeah.
go off. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that was a definitely interesting consideration of just attacking with hammer. Um, because there was like one card and there was also 4 blocks um with the armor. So okay, they're gonna do a a bad Sonata or just for 0 from the hand. And I'm guessing they're gonna pop Skeleta and then play the actual Sonata from from the arsenal. Yep. So they are going off on 20, which is sometimes a little bit too early. Oldhim doesn't have a arsenal here, so it might be okay as well, keeping one extra card in hand. So the CNC, what it really did was took the lead the charge from Chad's hand, which would have been, really, really good as well.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know how to do this feature in
yeah.
TTS, but that was very interesting.
Your
The
cards
fanning of the
become a
card.
snake.
Okay. I've never seen that be done. TTS always surprises me with the features that it has.
So
Ooh,
the
I remember
Sonata was with 10 rune chance, so he gets to reveal 10 or 20 rune
for
chance,
X
so
equals 10.
10 plus 3 is 13 cards. Pretty
I
even
remember
split
doing one thing.
actually.
I remember doing one thing here because I was a little upset. You'll see Chad pick his cards, and then I will be like, "There's a rune flash underneath this." Like,
Oh
whoa!
yeah,
And I
TTS
didn't say it.
glitch.
Yeah, it was like because when the way he stacked them, he just put the card on top, so he just forgot that the rune flash was there when picking the cards. So it would have been like, yeah. Here I like go and Chad go like, "Oh, sorry, my bad. I couldn't let him not pick the rune flash. It was underneath all that crap." Oh man. So you can say it. I'm a little favoritism. Chad is my teammate. I just like Rune Flash is so good here. Three
Yeah,
go
that
again cards.
yeah. I don't think if they're playing in paper that could even have possibly happened. He definitely doesn't stick two cards together, so I think ultimately that's okay.
Okay.
Um
Thanks. Okay,
One
so
thing I
there's a
wanted
lot
to
of.
say was
Mhm,
the Sonata beforehand did allow him to shuffle the deck, and if
mhm,
he had not done that, he would have had one of those unmovables in those top three cards,
true,
to reduce the amount of cards he got off the Sonata. So
true.
uh, that's pretty good play, just getting the deck
Mhm,
shuffled. I think he had like some more cards on the bottom that he probably wanted, like bottoming meet and greets and stuff. So
yep.
um, even though the first Sonata didn't hit, definitely happy to shuffle the deck.
Mhm. I think this was a little weird starting off with a Rune Flash. I think you would have started with something like Meet and Greet or um, what was the other card? Meet and Greet. I think you would have. I think I would have started with Meet and Greet here, only because it gets reduced by the amount of Rune chance you already have. Um, maybe not. Right, Rune Flash costs 3. That is a really annoying cost.
Yeah, unless if he had like a Mordred Tide to start off with and make the Rune Flash easier to cast. Um,
Gosh, Mordechai into Sonata. What are you saying? Okay, already starting off at 8. Okay, so it's gonna be really close. I promise you. As you can see, there's a lot of length left to the video.
that's true. So we have the Stalagmite block coming out here. So Chad gets a Rune Chant and then quickly pays for it to cast Swarming. And I
Mhm.
think everyone has seen the Viserai OTK turns many times. It's just all of these 0 for 4s with Go again.
Yep. Here I am just turning off the chat. Wow.
um,
There we go.
Yeah, it was very good that Chad was able to do this while Oldhim had no arsenal,
Mhm.
um, to be able to chip through more damage. So they're coming in with 1 arcane and 4 physical here.
Also being very dutiful of not breaking the combat chain to give them their armor back, especially the frostbite giving one, the shield stalagmite. So also
Yeah,
good on him.
that's super important. Blocking with Tunic
Hmm.
is interesting.
Yeah, I also thought that too. I think wanted to make sure not to get that special on hit effect of not being able to stop the arcane
Hmm.
because they did have 2 floating. Um, so I think that was just a heads up for them to make sure that they didn't accidentally just take 3 extra damage for no reason.
Yeah.
Because they are pretty low. They are at 6. Chad didn't get another go again attack, so unfortunately they couldn't keep going there. I
Hmm.
think Chad could have used Suede Hides here and done a little bit more damage. I don't remember exactly what else they had in their hand, and I think they kept one card from the previous turn that we did not get to see at all. So now
Hmm.
it's just about getting the last chips of damage through. I think Chad
Yeah.
still has a lot of good power cards, and it's just going to be about making the decisions here and maybe getting a little bit of lucky about by Oldhim if they can ice react or not as well is going to be really important here.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep making sure the Oldhim can get a card in Arsenal as soon as possible and start getting those ice reacts to slow the Viserai down is going to definitely be important.
Here's a good start. A Lightning Strike for 5 go again, so already making the Oldhim have to block using the shield right now as well. Very interesting,
Hmm.
giving a frostbite right now, making the world a little bit more difficult to attack with. So just taking 1 there. It's 3 and 1. Let's see here. Did have the blue with the Spellbreak Strikes. That's 4, and then banking 2 damage for a later turn. All right,
Yeah.
not a
So,
super aggressive.
oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, after the OTK turn, I think the Viserai needs to be very calculated with their turns because
Hmm.
now they really, if they just throw their 4 card hands at the Oldhim, they're gonna fatigue very easily. So
Hmm.
it's good that we still have some Spellblade strikes so that we can go for spike turns and try to generate some more rune chants,
Hmm.
and try to go over the top. Because if we're just playing out the cards hand to hand, uh, that's probably just going to be an easy way to lose. But if we can do Spellblade strikes, get some rune chants, and do bigger other turns, that's definitely what I think the Viserai needs to be aiming to do in this scenario.
Yep. Let's see. Taking 4. Right, and that was a blue Spellblade Assault as well, so it was just blocked by one card. Here's one of the first big power cards. It's going to be a Rattle Bones, getting immediately a
Rattlebones.
Swarming Gloom.
Yep. I was gonna say Rattlebones, aka Swarming Gloomveil, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, so sequence properly. I think there was a lot of interesting decisions here by Chad about those kinds of choices. I believe Rune Flash was better here, just by one marginal. I believe they're going to have like one floating afterwards. I think Chad might have gone a little bit into a trap of like using Rattleballs to get swarming immediately. I think if he thought about it a little bit more, there was some. I think Rune Flash was just marginally a better choice in some scenarios, and you'll see maybe later that where I thought that maybe getting that was a better idea. Uh, Revel in Rune Blood that was still in the deck, so 5 more rune chance, pretty good.
Yeah, preserving these Revel and Runebloods for after the OTK turn is very important. They
Hmm.
obviously don't do anything while you're building up Rune Chance, and getting them on your OTK turn is nice, but you would have to have it in hand because you obviously can't draw it off Sonata. But if you can keep them in the deck and you do not happen to kill your opponent on the OTK turn, Revel is a huge way to present the hybrid damage and spike through to try to get chip damage through on heroes like Oldhim where they have Crown of Seeds and so many good defenses.
And I'm here, I think, correctly assessing that a card in Arsenal is worth more later than blocking now. So I think Oldhim is just going to be in that mode and was like, If I get to attack with Hammer, great. If I don't, and I get kept with one card in hand, it has to go into Arsenal because Crown of Seas is just going to generate a lot more value with blocks, um, generally.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's an easy trap to fall into just using that card to hammer or using it to block more on that turn maybe, but having the Crown of Seeds arsenal card is super good as far as preventing extra chip damage.
Exactly. And here's a Shrill for 5 using that Lead the Charge. Lead the Charge also kind of a late addition before the bans. Really good against Prism, but also just generally just a good card. Can be your like sort of extra Marvian Skies. Sure, it doesn't have the on-hit effect, but I think it still was a very, very worthy inclusion in the deck.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's great. Obviously turns on Viserai's non-attack, so you create a rune chance, so that Stro gets pumped, and then it
Hmm.
also gives your thing pseudo go again. So pretty good bread and butter turn, and we still
That's a lot more
did
pummels
we?
left in the deck. Oof.
Yeah, I've seen some. I played a game in the league where I was playing Bravo Showstopper versus Oldhim, and the Oldhim I swear had all 9 pummels, and it was very difficult.
As we were
uh,
talking about how putting a card in Arsenal was going to be so good, the Olden decides to swing with the hammer here.
hmm,
So I don't see. They're still Viscera still have 5 life, but maybe getting them to a point where maybe they're 1 life or they're a little lower, where hammer swings actually become. Because you have to make them block at some point. Less card in
yeah,
hand. 5 card hand are way too much. So maybe this was just an idea of I'll take some pitch damage, chip damage now, just to make sure that when I swing the hammer, they have to block and just makes it worse. Um, Here, Chad decides to keep their whole line, so now they're at 1. So now, yes, now the hammer swings are pretty good. And this
hmm,
and that was just it. It kind of works out for Oldhim. Not the Viscera is not presenting a huge amount of damage here. Um, so this maybe they won't have to be too punished with the ship damage. But let's see what happens.
yeah. I think if the
Wait, hi.
hammer was with ice, I definitely agree with hammering there. But we still uh, pushing a lot of
Hmm.
damage here.
Yep.
Looks like Oldhim has enough to pitch for the rune chance,
Hmm.
and then he took 1 chip damage total that turn.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
From the Rosetta Arcane.
Yep. Playing
Then,
tagging with Rosetta here is going to be really good. I think if Chad has a juice to attack with Rosetta 2 more times, then the game is and making the opponent just use every single card, then the game is over.
mhm.
Because they don't have an arsenal card to use the Crown of Seeds with, but um, yes. So right now it's going to go down. Yep. So 1, 1, and 1. This should just be another way to chip 1 damage in. So yeah, now 1 to 1. All
Yeah,
right.
that's it's getting real close. I think the Oldham's decision, I've been thinking about it, is as soon as Viserai has an off turn, then you can present lethal.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, the Oldhim had to go to 1 after that
And without
hammer
Arsenal.
swing without the
Yep.
arsenal. Um, but if somehow the Viserai has an off turn, um, you can start stealing the game, but I think it's a little bit safer just to block as much as possible. Um, so we have Rattlebones for swarming here. 1 arcane coming through gets blocked, and then the swarming is going to be for 3 go again.
Yeah, I think this
And
time they use grass, so it actually is 4. So they made sure to play
oh,
Rattleball, then Grasp of Runechant, then play
right.
Swarming. So there were 2 auras being created, so it went up to 4, which is great because that means you have to use so many cards to block. Ooh, but the Blizzard I think just stopped it there.
Yeah, it looks like if Chad has a red in hand,
Yep,
that
and it's
saved
not
Oldhim
movable.
by a lot.
Speaking of unmovable, that reminds me, I believe this card in Arsenal that Chad has been there for a long time, a long, long time. I believe they arsenaled an unmovable. Or
mm,
at least you could infer that as well, as it has been
yeah,
stuck there because Oldhim has not been attacking at all. Um, so that was a great sequence there. I believe if Chad didn't make a grass rune chant, then he just would have won. I think if I'm correct there,
that's
last turn,
true
so it might have been a little
actually.
bit of a punt because it was just like there was no arsenal or anything like that, so they could have just attacked instead of making a rune chant there.
Yeah,
So this game just gets to go a little bit longer thanks to that. And
yeah,
now Chad has an off turn where he just created some rune chants and attacked. So now Anthony, Oldhim player, gets to attack with hammer and have an arsenal card. So now they're not susceptible to Rosetta. And there it is, the MO that was stuck there for the
very
longest time.
nice, very nice. Red unmovable.
It is going to be a
Um,
lot of rune chants though.
yeah. So on that turn where he creates the rune chant with grasp, if the only way you lose is your opponent having blizzard, then I
Yep.
suppose it does make sense to just not make the rune chant. If they don't have the blizzard, you can make the rune chant before the Rosetta.
Yep. I
Um,
think Chad is now in the awkward part of his deck where he's trying to do anything to just force
yeah,
cards out of hand for Oldhim and make him yeah, block. There we go. 3, and you
yeah.
then use
So
crown for the 4th. Yep.
oh, it
This
looks
is
like Oldhim did
wow.
not have a blue in hand. If he
Mm.
had the
Oh, that was the triple Spinal Crush hand. They were all
oh,
kind of
he
clumped
pitched
together.
it. Oh, good
Yeah.
point.
Yep. We remember that from a lot earlier. So that, yeah, that was very awkward. Um, then this might be a way to Chad to get in there. There's an Arsenal card, so see how he prepares for his end game. At some point, I check. I believe it gets down to the wire this game. You know,
Okay.
nice.
Rune
So
Blood
Rune Chant Factory.
incantation and read the
Ooh.
runes.
Yep. Setting up.
Yeah, like we were
All
saying
right.
earlier, I think setting up is does give you a good chance to
Mm-hmm.
get over Oldham's defenses, especially because Oldham was able to preserve a card in Arsenal. But now we have to worry about what he might be attacking us with
Yep.
a 4 card plus Arsenal hand.
Yep. And so that's the other Spinal Crush that we're talking about. So it's probably a Spinal Crush in Arsenal as well, but I don't know. Pitching the Spinal Crush. Spinal Crush would be really good right now because it is 3 cards from the opponent's hand. They could have played it. I believe they would.
Yeah.
Speaking, there it is. There's their
Oh,
Spinal Crush.
okay. There's the last one.
That makes sense.
So it is 9 damage. It is a clean 3 card block.
Hmm.
Um, and then the Viserai. Well, then again, Viserai does have a lot of 2 blocks.
Yep.
So this could be danger. If the Viserai has 2 blocks, we can
Hmm.
lose a lot of momentum. And then the question is if there's still more. Ooh.
Mm. Yeah, but I had to pitch a few resources there to be able to block with it. But
Yeah, so you,
I think they're at the point of the game. I think that pitch was very intentional.
Yeah,
If I remember talking about it with Chad a little bit afterwards, I think you see him block with a blue, and then using like an over pitch with like a ninth blade and a shrill
yeah.
skull form. I think that was just a very intentional pitch to set up a late game scenario. So that was
Hmm.
gonna be really interesting from here on out. Chad does like a really good job setting up the end game here to make sure to get that one pitch, one damage through, because it's definitely not easy versus Oldhim with the cards that are in deck. So you
Yep.
can't just, like you were
Oldhim.
saying earlier, like throwing the 4 card hands is not going to do it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
See here.
Um, yeah, getting that ninth blade still in the deck is pretty good. If the Viserai can maybe find another Mavrian and draw back into the ninth blade. I mean, the deck is very small, so he's probably drawing back into it very soon.
Hmm.
That will be good. Still having some disruption from Oldhim though.
Yep, Winter's Bite, and then a Glacial. This was
Ooh,
also very interesting. There was one unmovable in the deck because we did
okay.
see it at some point in the game. This could have been like an 8 dominate, but I
Yeah.
wonder if they were still thinking there's the last
Wow.
unmovable. That was
That's really good.
very heads up play as well, playing the Winter's Bite instead because it was gonna be an unmovable getting played no matter what. Um, because yeah, so both players really working with the knowledge that they have of the end game here
Yeah.
to really to their advantage.
Yeah, that's
Um,
super heads up because like at worst you get 3 cards out of their hand in either way. Even if they do have the defense react, they have to pay for it. So, um
okay,
not
there it
getting
is.
greedy and trying to go for the kill.
Yep, I agree. Also, not getting greedy. They just remembered it. Winter's Bite was just the better play there. I believe if they did not do that, this would have been a lot better because they actually could have played the maybe the Oath of the Arknight or something along those lines. Would have or would have been able to play something extra, I believe. I think there was a Mauvrian Skies, so it would have been definitely the
Hmm.
kill, but now it isn't. Now this is just 15 damage, and Oldhim can very easily generate 15 block, especially with Crown.
So the benefit of this is that we are at least, I think, going to take all of Oldham's cards, so he's not attacking us on the next turn. And hopefully there's some good cards left. I feel like Chad must have like less than 5 cards left in deck.
Yep,
Because we already got back to the ninth blade.
correct. And I remember
So
there's still plans here, so this is not the end for Chad here. I think he still has a plan after this ninth blade to try and get that last bit of damage in. I forgot what it required exactly, but at least there's no more immovables left in the deck, so there's not a clog of that. But I believe this is going to be exactly 15 block using 3 and 2 and the crown to get all 6 rune chance, and then 3, 6, 9 with the rest of the cards. So we're in a no arsenal territory.
yeah, no arsenal and not attacking Viserai. So if Chad gave himself a good last couple cards in deck, then he is very comfortable right now, I think. If,
Yeah,
however, he did not preserve resources, then he's worried. So we'll have to see what he set up. I should have been paying attention to what he was pitching as well.
it'll come up. I won't spoil it for anybody. Some people already saw it. No worries. Blocking there. Oh, and then making sure to use the resource efficiently because they had a defense reaction to use. Okay.
Nice.
6, 3, 9. Awesome. Yep. Took a little bit to figure out, but got everything blocked out. Yep.
Wow. Exact
Yep.
last 4 cards.
Exact last 4 cards. I believe the last
Mavrian
card was also like a
Shrill.
meet and greet. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That was the last it. And then with the Rosetta Thorn, since they did the ninth blade to make sure that they had no arsenal, they could use their last Marvian Skies to use the last Rosetta Swing to get the last bit of damage. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so
Great
I
end game.
guess we don't get to see what Oldhim had, but I think that is them scooping and
Yep.
Viserai cleaning up. But yeah, that's crazy. I mean,
A
I
little bit
always
of punt in
think,
the middle there.
yeah, I think there's definitely some plays we noticed on both sides that could have been
Hmm.
different, but playing there's like 3 phases: building rune chance, playing the
Hmm.
OTK turn, and then after that figuring out how you're going to do more setup because I mean,
Mhm,
Chad did it exactly like he needed to, despite a couple of the other plays. And he
mhm,
gave himself that final turn with the Mavrian Shrill Rosetta
mhm.
right after a ninth blade, which is really awesome planning ahead. If he just played that Mavrian out or blocked with the ninth blade, he, I think, for sure loses.
Yep, yep.
Um,
It's really using the last bit of cards to just their fullest extent to make sure to get the last damage in through. That was just good. That was just good planning.
yeah.
I think if you I think I don't know why he went out at 20 rune chance. I think that was fine. But if you maybe make a few more rune chants. He did block with a lot of read the runes. That was a case
Hmm.
as well. So maybe the rune chant generation that was left in the deck wasn't all that much. So maybe the
Yeah.
going off there was the correct call, and then just trying to eke out in the end. Um, just the way that the cards came up with the blocking and being able to use them. So, but yeah, maybe making a few more rune chants gets you to skip that last step to get those last few points of damage in. Um, but it was just well played.
Yeah. I think that was definitely exactly what he needed to do at the end. Um, like we said earlier, this was before the ban, so if anyone's not aware, you cannot use Bloodsheath Skeleta anymore.
No,
The
and this is
OTK
why.
game plan, as shown in this video, is very strong against Guardian strategies, defensive strategies, um, where Viserai is generally a pretty aggressive hero. So having that big spike turn to get over the Guardian's defenses was seemed like LSS thought like it was a little bit too strong for the meta.
Hmm.
Um, but because of this team league, we at least get to see a lot of different heroes getting played. Like I don't think Oldhim was very popular at the time at all, but you have to play 5 different heroes during the week. So
Yep.
um just goes to show like how strong the top 3 were at the time, like Viserai, Prism, and Starvo. They all had plans for like not just the other 2 of the top 3, but also every other deck that could possibly show up generally. Besides maybe some rogue ones that were like targeting some of them, but
Avaya.
yeah, yeah, I love you, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm glad we got to cast this one. It really showed the skill cap that you could bring into the game as far as pitch stacking goes. A lot of the time, I know this is specifically an OTK one, but a lot of the time super aggro decks just play their cards hand to hand. But
Hmm.
if you can keep in mind like the cards you have in deck and plan around that, you lose maybe a couple points of damage here and there, but you gain an actual late game. You gain like consistency over multiple turns. So I think this type of stuff can really be applied to a lot of different heroes. Um, and I hope you guys can try that yourselves.
Have fun
Uh, yeah.
in the flesh and blood,
In the
or
flesh and
TTS,
blood. Yeah.
or in the
Or
TEOS.
Flesh and Blood Online, which I've been
Oh,
trying recently, which is pretty cool.
yeah, we'll get
Uh,
some games in of that.
yeah, definitely. I think this is probably going to be one of the last recordings we had of the team league to go back and
Hmm.
cast. And thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Boom.